Andrew Tate has been the topic of many news and social media outlets. Recently, Andrew and his brother Tristan Tate were detained by the Romanian government under the accusation that they were sex trafficking women. After a few months, they were finally released while a continued investigation is ongoing. In the following, we see some tense exchanges between Andrew and a BBC reporter who was invited to Andrew's house to speak with him about the accusations.
Andrew Tate,
Hello.
you've agreed to do an interview with the BBC today.
Yep.
The material is going to be published on television, on radio, online.
Perfect.
We are doing an interview with you because you're facing some very serious allegations.
Correct.
Rape, human trafficking.
Yep.
And also because there's a great deal of concern about the things you say and the impact that they have on young people, on women.
I don't think the concern's about the things I say. I think the concern is for the level of influence I have and the reach I have. I would argue that a lot of the things that are already out there inside of the legacy media and the matrix as a whole are far more damaging than the things I say.
It's the concern about the influence you have being a harmful influence, but let's start with the allegations.
Not necessarily a harmful influence. The fact that I'm massively influential over the youth, and I understand that, but it's my influence as a whole which people are afraid of, not necessarily the things I say.
Let's start with the allegations. Have you raped anybody?
Absolutely not.
Have you trafficked anybody?
Absolutely not.
Exploited any women for
Absolutely
money?
not.
But you have admitted using emotional manipulation to get women to work in the webcam industry for you.
No. Firstly, let's begin. Let's start at the beginning. I'm facing charges. The first one you mentioned, the rape one's already been thrown out by a judge because there's no evidence of it. Secondly, it's very difficult for me to sit here and have a very frank and honest conversation with you while we're in the territory of Romania about a legal case that's going on within Romania. I have to protect myself. I've agreed to do an interview with you, and I want to be as honest with you as possible, but I can't incriminate myself in any way, and I have to be very careful with what I talk about.
There are no charges yet.
Correct, there are no charges.
Has said that
there are no
more
charges,
evidence
and I've agreed to speak to you, but I have to be as honest and frank as I can while also protecting myself and following my legal counsel.
So let's talk about what you've said yourself then. You have said on the website, for your original website for the Hustlers University, that you emotionally manipulated women to fall in love with you so that you could get them working in the sex industry for your financial gain.
As I said, I have to be very careful with what I say, but let's put it this way. No women are coming out against me and accusing me of doing it.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not. Who?
There's testimony from the current investigation.
The current investigation, which I cannot discuss, which I know intimately and you don't, I can tell you right now that the women who are in this case file, there are 2 American women who have been caught already admitting they're lying, and then nobody else is accusing me of anything.
To begin with, it's very common in cases like this that the alleged victims do not always see themselves as victims.
Well, that's very interesting. It's actually extremely interesting because if I was a matrix-controlled organization and my goal was to slander somebody and try and destroy their name, you're telling me that they've chosen a crime which, 1, is heinous, of course, because it damages the person's credibility, and 2, you're saying that even if everyone else involved, if you have 5 people and everyone's sitting there saying, no, nobody's hurt anybody, we like Andrew, we've all worked together, or we're friends, etc.
That's not what everybody's saying.
No.
Clearly, the reporter had an agenda to paint Tate in a negative light, which may or may not have caught him off guard. Yet he seemed to defend against it well.
About
Sure.
what you have done.
Sure.
You have said, my job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could become rich together.
I don't think that's what I personally said. I think
That's
that's
exactly what
no,
you said
that's
on your
that's
website.
that's no. I've never said that. That's something that you found on the internet. Doesn't mean I've said it.
In
And
your
and,
words.
and again, once again, if any female on the planet has a problem with me, I strongly recommend her to go to the police and try and pursue me for criminal charges. It's actually very interesting that me, one of the most famous people in the world, who's been vilified by the legacy media and places all over the internet, while everyone has attacked me from every single angle, while federal agencies from multiple countries have called over 2,000 women who know me, we stand here with 0 new accusations since my arrest. 0. If you took any famous person, any man of substantial wealth, and you called 2,000 women who knew him, you'd find an ex-girlfriend is upset, somebody who wants money who's upset. They called 2,000 people who knew me and could not find a single woman to make a new complaint.
Constantly, we see the BBC reporter not wanting to answer Tate and tries to stick to questions on her notepad. Andrew then makes a fairly strong point that he is inviting the news outlet to his home so he can have a conversation, not to be questioned one way like he was under trial.
And I'm not going to incriminate myself because you're trying to prod me. You are wrong, and we're going to have to accept that for now and talk about something else.
Let me read you then what you have said about what you have done.
Sure.
You have said, my job was to meet a girl, go on a few dates, sleep with her, get her to fall in love with me to the point where she'd do anything I say, and then get her on webcam so we could become rich together.
I don't think that's what I personally said. I think that's
exactly what
no,
you said.
that's no, I've never said that. That's something that you found on the internet. Doesn't mean I've said it. And again, once again, if any female on the planet has a problem with me, I strongly recommend her to go to the police and try and pursue me for criminal charges. It's actually very interesting that me, one of the most famous people in the world, who's been vilified by the legacy media and places all over the internet, while everyone has attacked me from every single angle, while federal agencies from multiple countries have called over 2,000 women who know me, we stand here with 0 new accusations since my arrest. 0. If you took any famous person, any man of substantial wealth, and you called 2,000 women who knew him, he'd find an ex-girlfriend is upset, somebody who wants money who's upset. They called 2,000 people who knew me and could not find a single woman to make a new complaint. The only complaints they have against me are the initial complaints, which we can prove are lies, and that's where it stands. So I'm not going to sit here and allow you to pretend that I'm some kind of evil predator, when actually I'd argue the fact that people who've been investigated to the level I've been investigated to, if you were to take the average man on the street and investigate his entire life for 14 months, call everyone who's ever known him, and vilify him in the media, and encourage people to come forward for money, and you try to contact every ex-girlfriend he's ever had.
Would come forward and accuse those people of rape and accuse those people
I think that you would have a lot more. I think you would have a lot more flack than I've got. I'm actually such a nice person that I've never had anyone come.
The BBC has spoken to somebody since your arrest who says exactly those things. That with you, it's all manipulation. There's an ulterior.
Is this Sophie?
Everything.
Is this Sophie? Oh, it's Sophie. The fake name, no face. No, the story that was invented.
Wanting to please him and wanting him to be happy, that I was just kind of, yeah, okay, do whatever you want.
And what is she accused? Has she accused me of a crime? This imaginary Sophie?
She's making the point that there is.
Has she accused me of a crime?
Emotional or psychological manipulation.
I've asked you a question, and I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you a question.
Correct, but you're not the boss here because I've allowed you into my house.
I'm asking you the question.
Correctly, and I'm telling you.
You get to decide the answers.
No, we're equal here. I've allowed you into my house. You don't come here with a position of authority. I'm doing you the favor as legacy media, giving you relevance by speaking to you. And I'm telling you now, this Sophie, which the BBC has invented, which there's no face of, nobody knows who she is.
The BBC did not invent.
Of course not. And because you never invent anything. And she's not filed criminal charges against me. What are we talking about?
BBC on their social media outlets posted an edited and skewered version of the interview trying to label Andrew Tate as a villain and the reporter as a hero. Luckily, as you can see in this video, is from Tate's own camera, and video is the uncut version of the interview.
I made primary school children misogynistic because I own a nice car. Is that your argument?
It's the misogyny that comes along with it.
Oh, owning a nice car is misogynist.
No, it's the misogyny that comes along with it.
How does misogyny come along with owning a nice car?
Because you have an image of financial
I'm glad you're answering my questions now. We finally got the dynamic.
You have an image of financial success.
She's answering my questions as she should.
Excuse me. You have an image of financial success, but it comes along with attitudes towards women that are really problematic.
My attitudes towards women is that women should be protected and provided for, and I've said that at length. In fact, I've said that over 50 times online, you never mention it. I say that my girlfriend doesn't have to work unless she wants to, I take care of her, I die to protect a woman. I've talked about how I've stood up and faced a knife to protect a woman.
And in return, you want authority over her in the way you have over a child or a dog.
Absolutely not. I've said that women should be protected and provided for.
And in return, you want authority over her, because if you have responsibility for someone like a child or a dog, you say, you have authority over them.
If you want to go down this argument, we'll go down this nuanced argument. I said that if I have responsibility for her safety, I should have a degree of authority over her safety. Meaning, and let me explain my point. If I'm the one who has to fight and die to protect her, I'm the one who decides how we walk home. I'm the one who decides the route we take. Because it's unfair for her to say, I want to walk through the most dangerous neighborhood in the world, but you have to face the knives. That's what I've said. And then you're going to sit here and pretend that I'm trying to treat women like dogs, which is garbage. Every single man in the world who loves his woman understands that he has to protect her. And every single woman in the world likes the idea of a man who would protect her. If you were to say to most women home right now, do you want your husband to protect you in a violent attack? They'd say, yeah, of course. Nothing I've said is misogynistic.
If you said to most women, would you want to lose authority in the relationship, to not be treated as a free and legal equal, to your...
I didn't say that. I said I need to have authority over the route we walk home.
When you compare women and the authority over women that you believe you should have to having authority over a child or a dog, it's not the same, because a woman is a free, legal adult.
Correct.
You're equal.
Free, legal adult, my equal. But if I had a girlfriend and we were walking home late at night, and I said, let's not walk down that area, it's a bad area, I have to protect you if anything happens, I want to take the long way. And she said, no, I have to walk this way, even though it's the most dangerous route, I must.
Then what?
And then I would say, you're welcome to, you could do it, you're a free and legal equal, but I'm not going to walk with you and protect you. I think that I should be able to decide the route, because I have an obligation. And my obligation as a man is to protect and provide for females. Everything I'm talking about is traditional gender roles, which 10 years ago, less than 10 years ago, would not be considered outlandish, would not be considered crazy, would not be considered dangerous or misogynistic. The world has changed, and a lot of people haven't changed with the world. Please understand, there's a lot of women at home watching this right now who like the idea of their man sticking up for them, protecting them, and providing for them.
I think some of the takeaways from this video are the following. 1. All large news outlets have their own agendas, which we should be aware of. 2. This reporter did not do her homework and is not being very professional. 3. Whether you like or dislike Andrew Tate, he does make some good points. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.